Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is CassAnaya. I am the host of 1 Minute History on YouTube. Go watch it. It's awesome. Subscribe. Well, this is my second entry to my poker journal. I got done with a tournament. It passed another Tuesday night. Another $6 tournament, and I'm going to share the results with you. Maybe you've already seen it in the thumbnail. I got 27th out of 37 players, so I didn't do well. I did not do well. This is me moving the mic. Okay. That's fine, though, because I played well. I didn't make any mistakes. That's what's fucking important. So, as I said, this is my poker journal. I talk about me playing poker with the idea that maybe down the line I could actually make some money doing this, and I wanted to chronicle all of the failure and all of the leading up to that point, or the fact that I will just run out of bankroll and I'll be done. So whatever happens, happens. I won my first tournament. That's the first episode. That's the reason I decided to do this, because I thought, hey, it's going well. Wouldn't it be awesome if I got 2 in a row? Wouldn't that be amazing? And of course I didn't. I was so far from the cash. I was one of the first few people out, but that's fine. So we're going to share these statistics of the tournament itself. So again, same tournaments, only a $6 buy-in, basically a free roll. And there were 37 players, 10 players to a table, and I was there for an hour. I played for an hour of total time, not including the break time, which is 7 minutes. And I won, let me see here, I won 2 hands. Two hands. I won 2 hands. That's all I won was just 2 hands. 2 fucking hands. 2 hands. And 5 losses. So I lost 5 hands and only won 2. Let's see here. So that brings my win percentage to 29%. So 29%. So anything under 50 is bad. 29% is what I was at. Yeah. Okay. So number of hands, 41 number of hands. Let's see here. I got 3 different pairs. I played all of them. Just somewhat, at least. We'll go over the hands that I did play. I played 7 hands out of 41, which means that I folded 83% of the time. So that, I think, is high, possibly high for this type of tournament. This type of tournament, you maybe should be playing somewhere around 80 to 70%. 70% was the amount that I folded when I played last week and the tournament that I cashed in. So I just think I was not running well. I hate saying card dead. That's because that happens. You run into a lot of bad cards, or you run into when you're in position cards that you can't do anything with. You don't want to do anything with because you're just going to end up donating to whoever's playing. And I had one of my blinds when I was in position. One of those people defend their blinds like crazy, and then 2 guys over from me was a calling station, and that's the guy who ended up taking me out. Fucking asshole player. I'll talk about that in a minute here. Let's see here. But I played well. I was aggressive in the hands that I participated in. So let's take a look at them. So let's take a look at the 2 that I won. Now, first one, I was in the small blind. Had a king 8. So I just called the small blind. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was just me and the big blind. And raised bluff. I got nothing. Just I continuation bet and ended up winning that hand. It was a small amount, but it was enough to bring me over what my chip stack had started at. So another 10% above what my chip stack had started at. So kind of a good start. Earlier when I was under the gun +1, I had king 10. An ace came out on the flop, and I couldn't do anything with that. Another person bet, so I just folded to that. Let's see here. Later, I was in the big blind with ace 9, and I folded on the turn to a big overbet. This was a girl. I call her Miss Kirshner because she reminds me of my theater teacher in 9th grade, who was a complete incompetent boob. So Miss Kirshner had a raise, but it was a 2 times raise, so a 2x raise, which is strange. So call that planning on bluffing, maybe, if I need to, if I sense some weakness. And then she goes all in. So that's what would that be? A 30x. So it goes from 2x to 30x. And this is not the last time that would happen in this tournament. In this 1 hour that I was playing, that's like I saw her do that maybe 4 times. So bad dead money. I know I can grab her money just as long as I get the opportunity. Never got the opportunity. So, yeah. 10-8, that's what I had. Not ace-9. Actually, I folded ace-9 in the big blind to, I think, a big overbet, and then a 10-8 was what I had in the small blind. Called, raised on the flop, and then raised on the turn, and that's when, because this was when it was like king 9 on the board. So I had a 10-8. So I had an inside straight draw, and that was about it. But with the 2 kings there, I figure I could scare her off if she doesn't have a king. And the moment she went all in, I knew she had a king, most likely ace-king. And later on, when I came up to her, and I said, "So during our hand, did you have an ace-king?" And she said, "Yes." So my read was right. I actually read her exact hand. And it was a strange hand, a strange way it played out, but I read it exactly correct. Which is great. That means I played that hand really well. Even though I lost it, I didn't sacrifice that much to it because they were pretty small. They were small raises. They were three times raises. And I'm noticing that pot, in these type of games, the pot size doesn't make much of a difference at all to what people are going to be folding to. So you can just continuation bet another 3 times what the big blind was, and that's enough to get them to fold. Because the people that I'm playing with, they're not thinking about that. I haven't encountered any. Again, I don't think I've encountered any good players yet. I know that sounds egotistical and hubristic. Is that a word? Am I full of hubris by saying that? And am I being hubristic? Is that a real word? You know what I mean, though. By saying that, but with the amount of study that I've done and with over 1,000 tournaments to my name, all free rolls, I admit, but with that much experience, I think I'm accurate in saying that. So then I get this long stream of fold to overbet, fold to overbet, fold to overbet. So I get a pair of 2s, and I raised on the flop, and I raised on the pre-flop, and then someone goes all in. Queen 9, someone goes all in. Ace 3, someone goes all in. So that's another indication that the pot size doesn't matter to these people. They're thinking so desperately from a very base level. I have a really good hand, and I want people to give me their money. So your goal should not be to give them your money. If they are shoving these huge amounts, that is them telling you they have a hand. They're not bluffing. And you can figure that out if they are bluffing. But if they are bluffing, then they're huge dead money bluffing. That means that they're way over betting it. And all you have to do is wait for the point where you have the nuts, or at least you know you have a hand better than them. You know you must have a hand better than them. Maybe trips or better. And they dead money into you, and you go, thank you, because you were patient and you waited for that. So, next hand I won. And it was the only other hand that I won. I had an ace, or I had a king-queen. I didn't write down what the flop was. I apologize for that. So I raised pre-flop, and I continuation bet on the flop, and they just fold to me. That actually won a pretty decent amount of money from. It's just from standard continuation bet playing, and that left me with 5,000 chips, which is we start with 4,000 chips. So I was 25% ahead of where my starting chip stack was at that point. Something like 35 hands in, 33 hands in. The break was shortly after that. The moment we come back from the break, I have a 3-2. And that was at the big blind. Check on pre-flop. Let's see here. 2 pair on the board. So there's 2 pair on the board. It's obvious that no one has hit the board. But whoever has that higher kicker is going to be the one that wins the hand. And I bet into it. Someone made a huge overbet at me, and then I folded to them. I was disappointed to be losing that hand, but you got to fold when you need to fold. Because if it went to a showdown and I called, because calling is stupid, then they're going to beat my 3. Every other hand in existence beats my 3 high, other than a pair of 2s, and they don't have a pair of 2s. They were probably playing with an ace or a king, or at least a queen. So what am I going to be representing there? Let's see here. I had a pair of 6s. Oh yeah, I was very proud of this one. So I had a pair of 6s. The guy next to me, to my left, was the big blind. This is the first hand he's played. No. I'm sorry. The guy to my right. All right. So he was on the button, and I was in the small blind. I had a pair of 6s. This guy, huge bet into me. Now I have a pair of 6s, and after a lot of deliberation, a little bit of talk with him, and I fold because I could sense he was strong. He shows me the aces. He had a pair of aces. So I knew that I wasn't going up. Like I felt like I wasn't just going up against a couple of high cards. I was going up against a bigger pair because this guy was so tight to my right. He was so tight, and he'd been talking that way. And he said it's the first good hand he got of the whole night. He probably didn't do much better in that tournament. And the fact that I folded 6s to a pair of aces, I think I'm proud of that. Again, did I make a mistake? I read it right. I think I did, but am I supposed to be doing something else there? Please comment. All right. So I'm in the hijack. I have 5-2. Fold. Okay, so the next hand is the one that I go out on, the 40th hand. Pair of 9s. So we had pair of 2s, pair of 2s that I folded smartly, pair of 6s that I folded smartly, and then pair of 9s. So pair of 9s, let's see here. I make a raise. I am in the mid. I'm at the midpoint. Okay, so I'm right in the middle. make a raise, everyone else folds. Now, Strangers with Candy, this lady who reminds me of Amy Sedaris' character from Strangers with Candy, she goes all in. I call her, and the fucking calling station who had called my raise calls her all in. Okay? So he calls. Flop comes, and the flop comes 10-3-2. And I think this is not hitting him at all, so I go all in. On top of that, I only have another 1,500. So I think it was pretty well priced in to stay in the hand, but I felt like I was still beating him, though. And I felt like I was beating him before pre-flop anyway, as well. I turn them over, because we're all in. This fucking guy doesn't turn over his cards. The dealer deals them out really quick, turn, river, and the river is an ace. So this guy looks at his card, looks here, looks up, looks at my hand, looks at his cards, and then turns it over. When I saw the ace, he had an ace 9. So literally he was 5%. It was a bad beat. He gets the case. He gets the one of 3 aces left, possibly 3 aces left in the deck, and that's the only thing that can beat me, and that's what does beat me. Otherwise, I would have tripled up, and I may have made it my way. That may have propelled me into the final table, but I'm out on a bad beat. I knew I had him. I knew I had a better hand with a pair of 9s, and that's what I had, the better hand pre-flop. I had the better hand than Strangers with the Candy, who went all in. I didn't write down what she had, but I knew it was another pair, and it was a lower pair. And this other dude went all in, calling us both with the ace 9, and because he's a calling station, and then slow rolls the fuck out of it. And I didn't realize at the time how douchey that was and how shitty that was for him to have slow rolled it like that, but he did. And later I looked back and I was like, that fucker slow rolled the shit out of that. He just kept looking, make sure, look at others, because he didn't want to show his hand if he had lost. He was just going to muck it. I'm sure later on I'll know the dynamic of playing, and the pressure of playing won't be getting to me, because I was still nervous. I was still nervous again. And it'll take a while before I get used to the feeling of playing an A game or an A plus game patiently and with composure and almost in a meditative state, but still playing aggressive and well. But this fucking guy slow rolled, and of course, if I was Phil Hellmuth or something, I'd be just cursing this guy out. Why'd you slow roll that shit? Just show your cards, you asshole. So calling station, another person who I want to take his money. I deserve to take his fucking money, but it didn't happen this time. So that's the results. I have no life things to tell you right now, other than I'm still fucking working on the Trump thing for 1 Minute History, but that will hopefully be out very soon. I'm mostly done with the podcast, and then I need to re-edit some stuff considering everyone else has dropped out, and I just need to change a few things around now because the original documentary needs to be just altered a little bit. That's it, folks, and love you all. Thank you for watching my poker journal. I'll be here hopefully doing this every single week. Again, I respond to the comments, so please comment. Let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of these poker journals and the realistic difficulties of a person who is dealing with valence. I think is the word, where you're going to have a lot of losses. You're going to have a lot of times where you're not winning. So I want to chronicle all of those times. I want to chronicle all of the losses, not just the I did really well at this moment. So you can see how grinding actually works week to week. I just started playing online. I'm not going to get into that right now. I am up $4, so it's nothing special. But the fact that I played a little bit, I played a few hours, and that I'm up money is good. I'm really researching what it means to play a cash game online and how I need to play. So that's another subject for the future. Subscribe to all this stuff. Subscribe to all that. Yeah, that's me. That's me right there. So good night. Have a pleasant tomorrow.